Welcome to the Let's Get Vulnerable podcast. It's your host, Dr. Morgan. And today I'm going to give you something that I know so many of you will appreciate. This is your attachment style guide to dating. Essentially, we're going to be breaking down each attachment style and how they approach their dating life, and probably what are some of the common things that are tripping them up. So I'm going to kick it off with anxious attachment, then we'll go through avoidantly attached, then disorganized, then secure. Whatever attachment style you have, this is going to help you understand yourself and also understand the people that you're dating. So I know that this episode is going to be highly valuable to you. So excited to share it with you. I've been preparing it here. And I want to just remind you that it is the cozy, secure fall offer right now with the Empowered Secure Love program. This program has changed thousands of lives, and now it's your turn. And this fall, I'm sending you my book when you enroll. So I'm going to give you my book, no additional cost. We also have some incredible discounts continuing, $1,000 off the program, and some other amazing bonuses. So don't miss out. Use the link in the show notes to apply. All right, y'all, let's get going here. Your anxious attachment style. Let's do a little review with anxious attachment style at the core. What's going on? At the core, I'm devaluing myself. I'm disconnected from my emotions, from my needs, right? And I'm prioritizing the needs of others. I'm highly focused externally. So I may be experiencing big emotions. I may be a very feeling emotional person, and I have those emotions, but I'm mostly focused on what are other people experiencing. And when I'm dating, what does this look like? The anxiously attached person is likely struggling even in the beginning stages of dating, even in the swiping, meeting new people, because they're struggling with regulating their emotions. One of the big things with anxious attachment is you didn't have a model for how to self-soothe, for how to emotionally regulate, for how to help yourself get to baseline. And there's also oftentimes a lack of self-worth. And for a lot of people with anxious attachment, you've connected your worthiness to your relationship status. So not only do you struggle with regulating your emotions, you're also putting so much pressure on the outcome of dating because there's some beliefs about, okay, once I'm in a relationship, then I'll be worthy. Once I get married, once I find the person, right, then I will be good enough. So you're struggling with emotional regulation. You're putting a lot of pressure on your dating life. For the anxiously attached folks, a lot of times you have this timeline. You may not say the timeline out loud, maybe only to your closest friends, but internally you have this clock ticking, and you have this idea of, oh, this is what happens at 2 weeks in. This is what's supposed to happen at 3 months in. This is what's supposed to happen at 6 months and a year. And we're supposed to be married within a minimum of 2 years, right? Or maximum, not a minimum, but a maximum of 2 years. You have this internal timeline that even if it's not getting verbalized, it's felt in the energy. What else is going on with anxious attachment in your dating life? You're likely attracted to emotionally unavailable partners. Lucky you. That's how this works. When we have certain beliefs about love, when we have a emotional home that we are accustomed to, we are going to be drawn to certain partners like moths to a flame, like two magnets, right? Like you simply can't help it. It's a compulsion. It's not a conscious decision. I always say if you took an anxiously attached person and you put them in a room with 100 people, there was 99 securely attached people in there, and there was one avoidantly attached person. Guess who the anxiously attached person is going to be drawn to? The avoidantly attached person, because the relationship matches the beliefs about relationships, and it lines up with the anxiously attached person's emotional home. So they're accustomed to the pulling away, the distancing, the, oh, I'm not worthy of love, the belief that, ooh, I have to work hard for love, the belief that I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy of someone showing up and loving me fully and being ready for the things that I'm ready for, right? So the anxiously attached person is just drawn to those people. It feels like they're kryptonite. Even if logically in their brain, they know they shouldn't be choosing the bad guy. That's often how they'll label them, right? Oh, just go for the bad guys or the bad girls if you're a guy, right? It's like, even if logically you have that awareness in your nervous system, in your emotional self, in your biology, your body, you are drawn to that emotional unavailability. So that's anxious attachment. One other thing I want to hit on before we go to avoidant attachment. With anxious attachment, some of your big struggles are relationship pacing. So really struggling to slow it down. You're wanting to emotionally invest really quickly. And a lot of times that comes from that fear of abandonment. And you have this belief of, oh, if I can just invest really quickly in this person, if this just becomes my person quickly and I become who they want me to be, then they're not going to leave me. Right. So it's this, once again, this is not a logical decision. This is more your nervous system and your emotional home of, okay, I have to get this person to want me. And the sooner I can get them to want me, the sooner I can get them to be all in, then the less likely I am to be abandoned. Right. So there's really a difficulty with pacing. What else does anxiously attached people struggle with? They struggle with communicating boundaries, emotions, needs. Just secure communication, assertive communication overall is challenging because, once again, don't want to be abandoned. And they're so used to prioritizing the other person's experience. So they're not good at, even if they might be in touch with their own experience, they're not good at expressing it. They might be filling up pages of their journal and they're telling their girlfriends and they have all these emotions, but they really struggle with expressing it directly to their partner. Okay. So the anxiously attached person is really struggling with communication and boundaries because they struggle with boundaries because if they fear that if they set a boundary, they might be abandoned. What else is going on? The anxiously attached person is comparing themselves to all the social media couples, to all their friends who are getting married, and they're going, TikTok, TikTok, I need to be engaged. I need to be in a relationship. All these people around me, they're all in these relationships. It feels like musical chairs. Everybody else sat down and I'm left standing here without a partner. And oh my gosh, the dating pool is dwindling. There's no good men out there. There's all this scarcity mindset as well with anxious attachment. Any of you listening really resonating? I imagine you might be. And I just want you to know, I should have said this at the beginning. I just want you to know that this can change, right? We now have data. I have so much data because of all my clients and my own experience, but we have so much data now that says you can become securely attached. You can have a different dating experience. But any change that we have starts with acknowledging where we're at. So if you're listening to this and you're acknowledging, oh my gosh, Dr. Morgan, it's like you're inside my head and this is where I'm at. I just want to give you a big hug and say, it's okay. I'm glad. I'm glad that we're acknowledging that this is where you are, because then we can heal it. Then we can move through it and become secure. All right. So, and by the way, I don't know why I'm feeling called to mention this, but it must be for a reason. If you're listening and you're going, hey, I want to work on this like this week and I'm so ready. One thing you might consider, I have a book. It's called Love Magnet, Get Off the Dating Roller Coaster and Attract the Love You Deserve. It's available on Amazon. I'll put the link in the show notes. Order my book. It'll be really, really helpful to you. I promise. I also love the book Attached by Amir Levine. My only issue with Attached is that there's kind of this attitude that you can't change your attachment style. And that is just not the case, right? Like we have enough research and data that we know that you can, in fact, change your attachment style. So go check out the book, Love Magnet, if you're listening and going, oh my gosh, I need to work on this now. All right, moving on. Avoidantly attached folks, roll call. Are you listening to the podcast? I think sometimes avoidantly attached people get a bad reputation and it bothers me. What really bothers me is when people with avoidant attachment style get labeled as narcissists. This is just not the case. I think that term, narcissist and narcissistic personality disorder and narcissistic traits just gets thrown around a lot. We're a lot of labels people like to throw around. And with avoidant attachment, what is the core wound, the core thought process here? It is that intimacy is not safe. And really, you can say the same with anxious attachment. It's just they have different reasonings as to why, and they have different ways of coping. That's one thing I want people to realize. I'm going on a tangent, sorry, but about attachment styles in general, you could have two people who experience some of the same childhood trauma or relational trauma, but then they develop different attachment styles. And that's because really your attachment style explains how do you cope? How do you cope, right? And with avoidant attachment, what we know is that the way this person is coping is by being hyper independent, distancing themselves, and cutting themselves off from their emotional experience and from the emotional experience of others. One term that you've heard the Gottmans use that I often think about with someone who's avoidantly attached is that they're stonewalling. They're putting a barrier up. I think a lot of us have either been in that place or we've been going through conflict with someone who's showing up that way, and you feel like you're talking to a wall, right? With avoidant attachment, this person learned that they could not depend on others. And they also learned that they couldn't really depend on themselves for emotional validation, emotional support. So what ends up happening is they're just oftentimes very disconnected from their emotional experience. And they do a lot of unconscious distancing in relationships. So what does it look like for this person when they're dating? Okay, here's what it looks like. With avoidant attachment, when you're dating, you're probably very excited about somebody in the beginning. You might even say, oh my gosh, this person's amazing. I think they're so great. You might even tell some of your friends. You get excited in the beginning. The beginning stages of relationships are comfy. You're not super deep. You're not having to talk about your emotions. You don't have to be super vulnerable. So with avoidant attachment, we love that beginning stage. It's fun, you know? I'm like laughing because I know there's times where this was totally me. And there's times where I've definitely dated people who were like this. So let's continue. What happens? You move past the beginning stage and then you start to get a little bit more vulnerable. Maybe the person you're dating, especially if they have anxious attachment style, they then bring up, where are we going? What are we? What are we doing here? Right? There's a deepening of the intimacy. And what happens to the avoidantly attached person's brain? The alarm bells start going off. They're going, oh my gosh, I don't know if I like this person. I don't know if we want the same things in life. They start looking at this person and they're purposely finding ways that they're not compatible And they're giving themselves these logical reasons to distance and to pull away. And once again, this is not the avoidantly attached person's conscious decision. This is their compulsion. This is what their brain is telling them to do in order to maintain safety, because closeness does not feel safe. So then what happens? So the avoidantly attached person, they find ways to distance. Maybe they tell the person they're dating they're very busy at work. They just have a huge project coming up. They got to focus on work. Okay. And then they're doing that for a couple of months. And then they say, my nervous system regulated a bit. I had the distance. So then I'm not as triggered by the closeness. And then they come back and they go, okay, let's go on another date. Let's go on a weekend getaway. What happens? The date goes really well. They start seeing the person more frequently. Maybe the conversations come up again about what are we doing? Where is this going? And once again, they're flooded with the intimacy and the fear. And what's really important to understand about avoidant attachment, it's not just the fear that the other person will let them down, because they absolutely have that. They believe that if they depend on you as a partner, that you could let them down. But there's also the fear that they will be a bad partner. A lot of people with avoidant attachment style have beliefs that they are bad at love. I always think of that Halsey song, I'm bad at love. I'm not going to sing, but you know what I mean. The Halsey song. What year was that from? 2011? I don't know. But I'm bad at love, right? Like that is the avoidantly attached person's belief. And I think that sometimes we don't realize that. And if you are dating someone who has avoidant attachment style, you can almost confirm that belief for them by being critical, by saying things like, you never, blah, blah, blah. So that's why if I'm working with a couple that, let's say they have anxious attachment and avoidant attachment, one of the things we have to work on is how do we provide feedback in a way that offers reassurance, that's not using the always and never language, right? And that's still validating the ways that the person is showing up while telling them the things that are not working, right? So feedback is really important, and how we give it to someone with avoidant attachment style, because if they hear, oh, you never do this, oh, you never listen to me, you never validate my emotions, you're never there when I need you, they go, yep, knew it, I'm terrible at this, we shouldn't be in a relationship. And it just allows them to pull away really easy. So all that to say, when you have an avoidant attachment style, and some of you listening do, you may find dating exhausting. You may decide you'd so much rather focus on your career, your friendships, your relationships with your family. You will often think it's a waste of time because you go, wow, I put this energy in. It doesn't work out. It doesn't feel good. I find myself pulling away, right? And then I go, oh, I should try it again. But then it doesn't work out again. So a lot of times, if you have avoidant attachment style, you may find yourselves going through long periods of not dating, of just being completely on the sidelines, and you'll be the one saying catch flights, not feelings, right? You'll be the one that is just really focused on career, travel, your fitness, all the things. But I want to just tell you a little secret that I know that there's still part of you that wants a relationship. And it really bothers you, right? But people with avoidant attachment style wish that they could just turn that part of their brain off. Like, dang it, right? You wish that there was a way to just turn off that desire. And what I want to encourage you is this, just like I said before, you can always move towards secure attachment. So even if you have an avoidant attachment style, just know you can get to a place where you've rewired your brain and where intimacy feels safe. So, what are some of the things that the avoidantly attached person is going to struggle with and things that they need to work on? It's some of the same things that the anxiously attached person needs to work on. But number one is learning how to connect to your emotions. Likely with avoidant attachment style, you're just pretty disconnected from what's going on internally. So, learning how to reconnect to your own emotions, learning how to self soothe and emotionally regulate. Because if you can self soothe and you can understand what's going on internally for you, then you'll have more capacity to do that for others. So, really starting with yourself, connecting to yourself. Another thing with avoidant attachment style is learning how to set boundaries. This is tough because a lot of times they have fears about letting people down, about not being good enough, right? And they're often one to avoid communication. So instead of saying, I can't make it this weekend because I need to take care of myself, they won't respond, or they will ghost you, or maybe they'll make up a lie because they are really struggling to express their boundaries. So with avoidant attachment style, you have to get to this place where you can say, here's my boundary, and I still value the relationship, but this is what I need to do to take care of me. And then you need to kind of rewire the belief of, okay, I can have boundaries and still be close to people. I can communicate boundaries and people are not going to get upset with me. So, like similar to anxious attachment, but it's just sort of in a different context. Okay, what else? With avoidant attachment, you have to learn how to drop some of your hyper independence. And this is impacting you in all your relationships, not just your romantic relationships. You have to learn how to allow yourself to ask for support, receive support, and get comfortable with the idea of people being close to you in your life and caring about you and giving to you. So if I am working with a client with avoidant attachment style, one of the things I want them to work on is just, how do you start asking for support and allowing yourself to receive the support without thinking about, well, what do I have to do for that person now? How do I make this reciprocal, right? Or they must have supported me because they want to use this against me later. If you have avoidant attachment style, you have all kinds of beliefs about people who show up for you, right? So just working on asking for help and receiving the support and allowing it to mean you're supported. That's it. People care about you and you're supported without telling a narrative that it means something terrible. So those are some of the things to work on with avoidant attachment style. And why are they attracted to anxiously attached people? Because it fits their narrative about relationships, that people want a lot from them, that they will fail their partner, right? That people are wanting more than they can give. If I have avoidant attachment style, I have beliefs that people are going to overwhelm me, that I'm not going to be able to show up well in the relationship. And if I'm attracted to somebody with anxious attachment, I am likely going to experience someone who's emotionally dysregulated, who's asking a lot of me. And this simply confirms all my beliefs about love. But with avoidant attachment style, I'm also very drawn to that. It's my emotional home. It's my emotional home, right? So I think this is why it's so important to move yourself towards secure attachment. Okay, real quick, let's talk about what happens with disorganized attachment style. So, a lot of what I talked about with avoidant and anxious, you would be simultaneously experiencing both of those things. Okay. And then additionally, with a disorganized attachment style, you would be really struggling in your identity and really at this place of, who am I in this relationship? You might even be contemplating major things changing in your life. You'll likely just be bumping up against feeling a little lost, feeling like you don't know who you are, and that's probably going to happen by month 3, maybe sooner. And then with disorganized attachment, I think it's really important to note that you're going to go through periods of fear of abandonment and an intense desire for hyper independence. So you're sending a lot of mixed messages to your partner. One moment you're saying, "Don't leave me. I need you. I can't believe you didn't come over when I asked you to. I needed you." The next moment you're saying, "I need space. I'm going on a trip. Good luck. Have a great weekend." I don't know why I threw the good luck in there. You might say that. Good luck to you. But you just are distancing. So you're basically the pendulum swing between "don't abandon me" and "I need space." So as you can imagine, when we are dating and we have a disorganized attachment style, it is so exhausting. How do I know? Ask me how I know. Been there, done that, did that for a long time. It's incredibly exhausting. And I think, of course, it's exhausting for the person that you're dating, but it's so exhausting for you because of the internal battle and the emotional swings that you're going through. And to have that simultaneous, "Oh, I don't want to be abandoned and I don't want to be close to you," it is jarring to say the least. And it just wreaks havoc on your nervous system. You are in a fight or flight mode most of the time. So I think it's really important, whichever of these you've identified with, maybe you've identified with bits of all of the 3 I've mentioned, just to know, once again, we can move to secure attachment. So to wrap this up, what does it look like when we're dating from a securely attached place? Well, glad you asked. It looks like we have a regulated nervous system. We're really clear on who we are. We're really clear on our non-negotiables. We do not have scarcity mindset. We have abundance mindset. We know that there's so many people out there who would be excited to date us. And we know our worth, we know our value, and we've also disconnected our worthiness from our relationship status. So we know, hey, I'm worthy of love right now. I am more than enough as I am right now. And with secure attachment, you are approaching dating with curiosity instead of expectations. So going into your dates, being curious about who someone is, but also being curious about, how do I feel? Is this the kind of relationship I want for myself? Is this how I want to feel in my ideal relationship? Right? And with secure attachment, I'm not afraid to ask questions. I'm not afraid to set boundaries. I am able to gather the data that I need to gather. You all know I talk about this. You're a love scientist, and you're able to gather the data that you need in a way that feels good, in a way that doesn't waste your time. You're not spending months and months with the wrong people because you're showing up authentically. You're asking the questions you need the answers to. You're getting the data, right? And if someone's not right for you, you're able to move on. You're not doing what, psychologists we call the sunk cost bias. You're letting go of sunk cost bias where, "Oh, I've already invested time with this person, so I guess I should just keep investing time and see where it goes," right? No. If you are realizing, "Oh, we don't match up in this way. This is a really core thing that matters to me," or "I don't feel the way that I want to feel with this person. This isn't where I see my life going," then you're able to say, "I have appreciated our time together. I've learned about myself. Thank you. Next." I had to throw in an Ariana Grande. "Thank you, next," right? Like, we're able to be grateful, and we also can move on. And it's not this huge dramatic thing. Of course, you're going to feel some pain. Maybe there's even a little bit of grieving, but you're not feeling so crushed that you are out of the dating game for months at a time. You're able to say, okay, that wasn't the right relationship for me. Rejection is redirection. I'm moving on. And if I'm securely attached and someone breaks up with me, of course I'm going to be hurt. Of course there's some pain, but I'm also able to say, okay, clearly that wasn't the right relationship for me. And I'm able to move on. Right. So I think there's so much more I could say about secure attachment. When we're dating, obviously we have open, honest, direct communication. We are able to be close, but pacing it at the correct pace so that it doesn't sabotage the relationship. Because I know a lot of you have had this experience where you emotionally invest too quick and all of a sudden the relationship goes off the rails, right? With secure attachment, I am pacing the emotional investment at a pace that supports me having a regulated nervous system and that builds a securely attached foundation so that the relationship can last. Okay? I need you to get that. So there's a lot that shifts when we're showing up as our securely attached self. And it just makes dating so much more fun, so much more enjoyable. And you're just able to keep showing up because ultimately you just have to meet that person that's right for you. But if you're not securely attached, you're not going to want to show up because it's not fun. Dating is not fun. So becoming that secure version of yourself is so important. And it's just going to support you in meeting your person that much more quickly. And I hope that you got a lot out of this episode. Like I said, I know there's so much more I could touch on, but I think these were some of the main pieces for each attachment style. This may be one that you listen to a couple of times just to really get it. And I'm guessing this would also be an episode that some of your friends might benefit from. So if you listen to this and you're like, oh yeah, my friend needs this, make sure you send it their way. That way they know that you're thinking of them and you can help me help more people because that's my mission. I just want to help as many people as possible heal and become securely attached. And of course, if you've been listening and you've been on the fence and you know you're ready to do the work, go apply to the Empowered Secure Love program. We have limited spots. And I just think there's no better time than now because we're headed towards 2025. Can you believe it? Like it's going to be a new year. And I don't want you going into the new year with this feeling of, oh, I have to change. I have to be different. Like, why not start that process now? And then you can get momentum in these last 90 days of the year and head into 2025 ready to attract your person, right? Like you deserve to be stepping into the new year feeling so empowered and securely attached and able to enjoy your dating life. So don't wait. Go use the link in the show notes to apply. And of course, as always, I'm wishing you high self-worth and great relationships. Until next time.